Xbox announces their next generation console, and the internet has lots of reactions. All right, so if you've been watching my channel, you knew this was happening. We knew that Xbox was still working on a console, no matter how many times you had PlayStation fanboys saying that there was going to be no Xbox console. The Xbox is dead. All of these things. There was going to be another Xbox console, and it was officially just announced out of nowhere on a random Thursday, which always throws me off because I record my daily videos at different times depending on how I think the news is going to go. If I don't see really anything new coming out for a long period of time and I have enough stuff to talk about, I'll just record my video, which I thought would have been perfect for today's video. Unfortunately, Xbox had to come out of nowhere and announce Project Helix. And it's super cool. I like the logo. I like the name of the project. I wonder if this is something they'll keep for the actual name of the console, because Xbox Helix does sound pretty awesome. And this is exactly what we have been thinking it was going to be. A PC console hybrid where you get to play your PC games and your Xbox games. Asha Sharma puts this out. Great start to the morning with Team Xbox, where we talked about our commitment to the return of Xbox, including Project Helix, the codename for our next generation console. Now, we know there's Xbox Magnus. This has always been the APU, the SoC that Xbox is working in development with AMD. It's never been the actual codename of the console itself. This is the official codename of the next upcoming console, Project Helix. AMD's APU that's going to be within this is going to give you access to your console games and your PC games all in one place, which is, to me, very exciting. People will call it a PC, they'll call it whatever they want, but that is extremely exciting because that's where my library of games are. And if they can bring everything into that one singular box and I can go and play whatever I want, wherever I want, it's what I'm looking for here for the next generation. And what I'm thinking, this is exactly what's going to be, because Asha does say this as well. Project Helix will lead in performance. So to me, this is early. Like, we are March 2026. This thing isn't coming out probably till the end of 2027, and they already know that they're going to lead in performance. So they probably have a good understanding as to what PlayStation is going to offer here, and they know that the Xbox, because of where they're going to put it in the market, maybe by price and by the stuff with that's inside of it, the hardware, there will be nothing out there that's going to be able to beat this in terms of performance, and it'll probably be by a decent margin. I don't think they're going to come out here and it'll just be like very similar to what we saw with the Series X and the PS5. They were very, very close in power, and the PS5 beat the Series X on many games because of optimization with developers and all that. I'm sounding like they're going to make this thing where it won't be able to get beat on a performance level. That's what that kind of sounds like to me, that they're that confident about it by coming out this early and saying they're going to lead in performance. We haven't even heard anything about the next generation PlayStation. So how would they know unless they know that what's under the hood here for Project Helix is going to be above and beyond what the rest of the market is going to be able to offer in the console space? And she says here, and play your Xbox and PC games. So like we said, all in one. Project Helix name makes a ton of sense. Looking forward to chatting about this more with partners and studios at my first GDC next week. And this is going to be a very, very exciting week. I think we're just starting this. The announcement, the communication is smart. They're putting this out there in advance of GDC. What my thought is, they're going to GDC to talk about those barriers that are being broken down for the development of games. You're going to have a console and a PC inside of this box, being able to play your Xbox games that you own right now. I'm assuming all the way back with the backwards compatibility. And then if you're buying the PC version of the game, it's going to be able to play that. But how are they going to sell this to the developers where this will be something easy to develop for? I guess it'll be, hey, you can develop the PC game, you can develop the console game, either way. It's going to be on this box and it'll be open to as many players as possible, which is going to be awesome. So exciting times here. Xbox is not dead. As I've said multiple times, the people who keep saying it is dead are just probably hoping it's dead. They say they want competition in this space. I don't believe that for a second. I think the people who want Xbox to be dead or are always saying it's dead want it to be dead. It isn't dead, and we are going to be getting another console going into the next generation. But some of the comments here are hilarious, and some of the responses from some of the biggest people in the industry, mind-blowing. kind of a mask off moment specifically for one person. And this is what I say. This is my response. Get more Xbox 360 and OG Xbox games on here. Thank you. Because that is one thing where had me very excited with the Xbox Series X was the whole backwards compatibility program, and they did a decent job. I still think they are the best in that space right now on the console side of backwards compatibility. They've supported it the most, but they closed it off, and I would love to see them go back to that. Give us something where we can play even more backwards compatible games, something that could circumvent all the stuff that's holding it back right now with that program. That would be super cool to see. Just don't make two versions like you did with the X and S. I think it's going to be handheld. It's going to be console. I don't think they're going to put out two consoles themselves. You have these guys here who just won't call it a console, fanboying over this. Windows 11 PC confirmed, but we already knew that. They just won't call it a console, even though that is the announcement. Next generation console. Could plans change? You never know, right? Things do change, but they literally are calling it a console in this official announcement, an official press release, you could say, for what Xbox does have coming next. Gamers are about to win. Return to the roots of Xbox, the DNA of Xbox. Love the official nod with the project name Helix. Love what I'm hearing and seeing so far, which I agree. I agree as well. Already a great Xbox CEO. I would say you have to admit here, this is her first announcement. It's a pretty exciting announcement. So right now she is on the right path. Still got to be skeptical as to exactly what she's going to do. But Phil knew this announcement was coming. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to leave Xbox and give you the announcement that is going to be one of the most exciting things for the Xbox community, especially as it's being strategically placed where they're returning to Xbox, returning to the roots of the console, but then giving you more with the integration of PC. There's a lot of questions about the user interface. You can see the user interface already basically in its early form. Just go to the new play.xbox.com, get into that early access thing where you can see what they're doing with the cloud layout. I think that's what's going to be on this Project Helix. Maybe more advanced, potentially here. Obviously have a lot more features by the time it does drop, but that's kind of what is going to be on the next generation Xbox. That would be my best guess as to what they're doing. Now, the other question people have, will they bring this stuff back only on Xbox and PC? Because I put out a tweet the other day, and if we go over here to it, it was asking that question, will they return back to their roots? Or not return back to roots, but reverse their PlayStation strategy, their PS5 release strategy. It is something to think about. I personally don't care whether they do it or not, as long as my Xbox in the next gen actually gives me access to everything and all of the stuff that I play on PC and on the console itself. But I do ask this here. You have to wonder if Xbox is considering reversing their PS5 strategy. And there's a lot of discussion in this. Some people think they can't do it. Some people think they can do it. I think they can do it if they want to. I don't think there's really anything holding them back aside from the suits wanting to push these just absolutely insane, absurd margins on all of their games. And the only way you can do that is by getting more people to play it across every single device out there. But if they come back down to earth and give them a more realistic margin on their games and say, yeah, we want to focus on the brand, expand the brand out as much as possible, and then try to steal PlayStation gamers to come and buy the next Xbox, that's something they could do. Microsoft is a multi-trillion-dollar corporation. They're one of the biggest in the world. They have enough funding to support whatever they want to do, as long as they get the go-ahead, of course, with the investors, as long as the suits say, okay, we can be more realistic on the margins here of Xbox. Will they do it? Who knows? Either way, I personally don't think it really matters with what they're offering here. You're getting everything. You're getting all the stuff that you're going to want to play. And up to this point, until it's officially confirmed, you're still getting the PlayStation single player games. You're still getting all of the stuff that they're putting out there. We'll see what they end up doing, because we're seeing conflicting rumors now here that they're still staying on PC. So that stuff still isn't known. The other thing here, which I find, this is kind of like a mask off moment. It is kind of something that I've always given the benefit of the doubt when it comes to like PlayStation or to the Xbox tax and these big people in the industry that have such huge voices and reach because of where they are there. They're at the top of the industry, basically, where, yes, a lot of people don't like them, but they have the biggest reach. Jeff Keighley is one of those people, and I find this just absolutely hilarious. He says, Xbox has announced that Project Helix is the code name for the next generation PC based Xbox hardware device. Like, he really had to spin in his mind and work really hard to come up with something rather than just saying the next generation Xbox console. That is literally right in the release that Asha puts out, that Xbox puts out, the press releases for this announcement. When they're going to GDC, they're going to be calling it the next generation Xbox console. He did not want to say it. It's almost like a word that cannot be said by people that don't really potentially want to see this succeed. It's kind of the way I'm looking at it. I always gave Jeff the benefit of the doubt. I always thought, okay, we're overblowing here that he is a PlayStation fanboy and all of this type of stuff, simply because you look at the Game Awards and it's voted on across the industry. It's not really just his choice as to who wins. This has me asking different questions here. And then you go down into the comments and you see a lot of the replies. Tom Warren was really debating, going back and forth with him on this. Pretty interesting stuff. First, you have Stein here with this. I love this product, the whole thing going on with the taste testing of the fast food burgers, which has kind of been funny seeing all the different fast food companies going in on it. But Tom Warren says PC-based Xbox hardware. I think you mean Xbox console. Jeff Keighley says, do you consider Steam Machine a console? And what is hilarious is that you had people calling the Steam Machine a console, even though the Steam Machine and Valve were very clear that it was a PC. They literally put it in massive writing on the page where they talked about the Steam Machine. You can't win with these people. They only want it to be what they want it to be, even when the information comes out contrary to what they believe. He says Valve calls it a PC, probably because it's designed to run PC games and not console versions. I'd imagine Microsoft is calling the next Xbox a console because it's designed to run Xbox console games as well as PC games. And that's exactly what Asha does say here. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand people being skeptical. I understand people thinking things can change because they've changed so much this generation in the industry. But as of right now, the information that we have currently, and I think that's kind of how you have to operate, is you have the data, you have the current information. That's what you would base your thoughts on, your opinions on. Everything else is basically just kind of conspiracy thinking about all of these things. And most of the time it doesn't actually happen. But it says the code name for our next generation console. And she talked about her commitment to the return of Xbox, where you can play your Xbox and PC games. If it wasn't going to play Xbox console games, she probably would have just said something like it's going to be able to play all of your games currently in the Xbox ecosystem or something like that, or something that wouldn't differentiate Xbox as a console game versus Xbox as PC games. It's pretty clear as day, at least to me, with what she is doing there with that communication. And we see more people here. PCs emulates console games, and we still don't call them consoles. We don't have enough information on how their backwards compatibility will work for console games. So Jeff's description is the most apt for this moment. What if their next device only emulates and X and S is the last game gen from them? The gymnastics people want to do in their brains just so that they can not admit that they were wrong, that Xbox is making another console. Mind-blowing. Let's make it easier, Tom says. The next gen Xbox will play the console version of GTA 6. The Steam Machine won't be able to play GTA 6 until a PC version is developed. And I mean, you can't really be any clearer than that. Rally Car Delta Gaming says it takes maybe 1 minute to understand this thing will act as an Xbox console for all intents and purposes. Play games developed on the Xbox SDK. It doesn't matter what is under the hood. All of these devices are technically computers. If it runs a PC hypervisor shell as well, who cares? Great, that's cool. Just call the damn thing a console. And that is well said, because even if you look at right now in the current console space, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, you take off the logo, you take off the plastic shell, they are essentially the exact same under the hood. They're both technically computers with their locked ecosystem or their locked user interface and their locked platform on there. But they both are x86 architecture. They're both the exact same. So this whole debate is very, very stupid. It's just people, I believe, wanting to be right for something rather than just looking at this and saying, yeah, it's running Xbox games, it's running PC games. You're getting the best of both worlds. This sounds like a phenomenal device. There's questions, of course. We still have to wait a lot, like power. I have another video that I'll be talking about that. Price, like we don't know what this will be priced. It'll probably be relatively high, But for people who are looking for this type of product, it sounds extremely exciting. So Project Helix is here. I mean, I've been saying this for a while. A lot of people who are saying Xbox is dead, they're just saying that because it generates those clicks, it generates the traction, and they still won't admit that Xbox is not dead and it is alive here, as we are going to be seeing more in this upcoming week, I believe, hearing more, at least from the GDC and everything, about Project Helix and the next generation of Xbox. But all in the video there. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Bye.